we're going to bring it to the audience. Full send, baby. Here we go. Full send. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Caliber Corner, episode number 221, season 4. Today, we're going to talk about the new and upcoming Wildcat Caliber 8.6 Blackout. Right now, you're probably saying, what? 8.6 Blackout? What is that all about? Well, I took a lot of notes. I did my homework this week for you guys, and I've got a lot of information to share about it. It's a fascinating caliber. What's nice about it is it's not a major investment to get into it, unlike a lot of new calibers, which may require a whole new firearm, ammo, magazines. That's not going to be the situation. So we're going to talk about 8.6 Blackout, the artist formerly known as 8.6 Creedmoor, today in our discussion. But before we do that, we've got a very dedicated panel that's with us here just about every Saturday. It's good to see everybody here. Let's let the panel introduce themselves and get a little shout out on the YouTube side. Foos, we're going to go ahead and start off with you. What's new in your world, man? What are you doing?
I just cleaned a gun this morning that was kind of dirty.
That's right.
It has
that's right.
about, I don't know, 8,000 rounds through it.
Did my Patreon video inspire you? Did you see that?
No.
Oh, okay. I posted the CZ Shadow 2 cleaning video. So yeah.
Oh no. Unfortunately, I need to become a Patreon of you.
I thought you were. I thought you were in the box. I can't remember. So
I don't know.
You might be, dude.
Well, I mean, so all the Patreon stuff, like I
Yeah.
never go out there to get the perks because I don't. If I am a Patreon of someone, I'm not a Patreon because of the perks. I'm Patreon because like I like the dude.
There you go. You got some competition coming up this spring. When's your first shooting competition coming up here? What do you got?
I don't know. I'm actually right now. I am not registered for anything. I just haven't registered for anything. I'm thinking I am going to start training today because there is one in Springfield, Missouri, end of March. So that'd give me a month and a half to get squared away, so I could drive down there on a Friday after work, shoot, and then come back. So that is a possibility, because I used to go that range quite a bit. So,
gotcha. Well, there you go, man. All right. And also joining us today, we've got Squibload. What are you doing today, man? What's going on?
Just having my morning coffee and enjoying the show before I go into work today.
You sound very awake. What is your coffee of choice this morning? What are you doing?
Oh, I've got that. I still have that organic Ariosa. That's meh. I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
You're gonna begrudgingly drink all 5 pounds of it that you bought,
dude. I'm okay. Yeah, for what I paid, I $77 for 4 pounds. I'm drinking it.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
So
I mean, it's the free range, non-GMO, sustainably harvested, fair trade, organic, gluten-free. Man, I don't know.
Yeah,
I gotta try it.
It's not as good as the regular, but here's the deal. If you spend $150 or more in coffee, which is about 8 pounds of coffee, you get free shipping, right? It used to be $85. Back when it was $85, the shipping was 2-day FedEx. So you could literally buy 4 1-pound bags at about $20 a pound, right around there. Maybe throw in some tea or a coffee cup or something, right? And get free 2-day FedEx shipping. Now you have to spend even more money. So what I did was I bought 8 pounds of coffee in a coffee cup. I got that free shipping. It was FedEx ground, which takes longer. And they sat on it for like 2 weeks before they shipped it out. So I went on their website about a week or so ago, and I looked, and they have a little heading up at the top that says we're shipping orders that were placed on this day, and it's getting closer and closer to, because normally they'd ship the day you ordered. No BS. They just ship the day. I mean, it was great, right? And now they've got I'm kind of on the fence. I ain't shilling for them. I like their coffee, but I've been getting a lot of excuses from them. And I'm not happy about that as a customer. But the thing is, though, I just said, let's just see what would happen if I just bought 1 pound of coffee at $20. 1 pound of coffee, $20, $9 shipping, FedEx 2-day. Well, instead of me buying 8 pounds of freaking coffee, especially a coffee I hadn't tried before, which was dumb on my part, I could have just bought this stuff by the pound and just ate the $9 or whatever and got. So I don't know what they're doing there in Tucson, but yeah, So
we need some Arizona people on the podcast that can explain to us what the problem is.
they called me. I emailed them twice because they'll hit your text and your email, your inbox with a bunch of BS emails, and it's like, oh, we see that you put some stuff in your cart. If you order it today, we'll knock 10% off. You wait a couple days. Oh, it's still in your cart. Think changing your mind? We'll knock 15% off. Dude, how about if you just send my $150 freaking dollars worth of coffee in a reasonable time? They made me wait like a month to get this crap.
And it was pretty
Right?
dried out when you got it too. It was pretty stale, which is like, I'd be upset about that. I mean, that's ridiculous, dude. And you need to consume it within like 2 weeks.
And I'm
once
not,
it's been packed, if you don't
great.
freeze it.
Well,
Yeah.
I still have another 4 pounds of Mexicali that I haven't opened.
It'll sit. It's just like the premium experience is usually within about the first couple weeks. But
yeah, but my thing is, I don't mind paying a premium for it. I don't mind the fact that you can't buy it in stores or whatever. You've got to, well, you can buy it in a few mom and pop grocery stores in Tucson, but because when I was in Tucson, they had no storefront for me to stop at, right?
Yeah,
and I tried going to one of these stores, and they had, like, I don't know, Beavis and Butthead working there, so it didn't work out so well. So I have this stuff shipped in because I like it, I really do. But for what I'm paying, I would expect a better customer service.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're awake, and that's good, and we're glad that you're here. So hopefully we can leave you with some better customer service after today's episode. So
yeah, thanks for letting me complain about coffee.
Hey, no problem, man. That's what we do here. We complain about anything and everything. And so if you're new to the podcast, by the way, we go down these rabbit holes for 5 or 10 minutes at a time where we'll talk about something. It might have nothing to do with the topic at hand. I just want everybody to know that. So just be forewarned. We just start talking about anything and everything. So,
dude, speaking of anything and everything, I just realized, like, I sent you a bunch of CZ parts yesterday, and now I just became a Patreon of you. It must be good to be a Travi.
Man, you're under the Travi. You're under the influence. Travi influence, is that? Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
Well, this is good. You're going to be in the February drawing now, and we're actually going to do a double drawing in February. So we're going to give away 2 boxes. So that's pretty much 2
boxes of what?
So.
I don't.
Oh, we have a swag box we give away every month of all kinds of goodies.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's pretty cool, man. We give away there's a lot of stuff in the box. It's just fun stuff for shooters and stuff. It's a good time. So, yeah. All right. Speaking of good times,
Sandhills wants to know what is a rabbit hole.
What's a rabbit hole? Well, it's a period of discussion on a particular topic that may be hyper focused, that does not relate directly to the origin topic at hand. So there you go. All right, single shot. What's going on, man? How you doing, bud?
Oh, not doing too bad. I'm in northern Georgia right now. I'm going to meet up with JH586 here for a little bit.
Sweet. Okay.
And then I'm going to head on up into the mess up there. They got that big storm up there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what
going on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what we got up home there yet, but
okay.
I'm sure it was quite the mess to go along with what I've heard of everybody talking.
Yeah, I got a buddy out in Pennsylvania. I think they're sitting on about 8 inches or 10 inches of snow right now that they got overnight and yesterday. So he sent some pictures. I mean, it's pretty intense, dude. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got pretty close to 8 inches at next to the last storm there. It's only 3 inches on the last one, so we didn't get much on that. But, geez, I was only home for like 36, 37 hours the last time I was home, so I didn't get a chance to do much of anything at all, and right back out again. It's been a busy time here, so we're keeping things rolling. They're keeping us busy there for sure. So I got to play each day as it comes when I get back there, I guess.
Oh, I know. It's hard to plan more than a day ahead anymore with anything, especially with work or weather and God knows what else. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody here watching today, make sure you go out there and subscribe to everybody that has a channel here. Go over to the Squiblip channel, Single Shot's channel, single space shot with an exclamation point by it. Check out his channel. Check out Foos's channel. And we got a lot of goodies. And speaking of goodies, now they're not a channel sponsor yet, but I want you guys to check out rnldisplays.com. They make these fantastic AR-15 display stands made out of wood, veteran owned, right, American made, and they do have Glock options for you too. If you're a Glock person, you can show off your PCC or your pistol. They've got pistol options for you, a couple different finishes, And RNL displays, the refined way to display your AR. Think of it as fine furniture for your AR-15. So there you go, even though we've already got furniture on it. Oh, man, who's out there? Oh, we got the Russians here. Shouldn't you guys be busy over on the border with the Ukraine? Why are you visiting my website today? Desbedonia. So anyway, who's out there? We got Adam1 out there. He goes, I'm working outdoors in sub-freezing temperatures, 3 more nights, long, cold nights. Dude, I'm getting tired of and I'm just taking the dog out for a walk, and it's like 12 degrees, 5 degrees, 3 degrees. It's like, okay, I'm ready for some warmth. See, Sandhills Media's out there. Kingpin is out there. YNH is out there. He goes, we got 20 inches of snow in Cleveland. New York Outcast says we only got about an inch overnight, but they say more is on the way. Scott79 says the storm isn't too bad where I'm at in New Hampshire. Yeah, it's going to be kind of varies. They said it was going to be worse along the coast and a little bit, not quite so bad on the interior part. Squibload's out there. Mike's out there. Chris Bullis is out there. Who else is watching today? We got Kingpin in the house. Let's see. Adam1 with Squiblift, tacos and French fries. Irish wristwatchers out there today too. RGK762 is out there. Good morning. Mount View's in the house. Mount View was the first person to click in. He says, I hit the reminder button. Will it actually send me a notification this week? Gonna find out. Mountain View, I'm kind of curious. Why don't you let me know? I'm just kind of curious to see if you guys get the notifications. If the bell's been hit and you don't have a slash mark through it, you should give you a notification when I go live. I get it pretty much for everybody else when it comes to live streams, so it shouldn't be an issue. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guys in the house. Boat75 just checking in. Foos US PSA says, I'm her? No, I think you meant to say I'm here. Oh, there you go. You corrected yourself. I got you, Foos. I got you. I'm here and there, so there you go. So today, I don't even know how or why I came up with this. I was looking for new calibers that are coming up in 2022, and 8.6 Blackout is one of those calibers that really came up on the radar. I've got lots of information on it. Then we'll kind of get the take of the panel to see what they think. So 8.6 Blackout. Here's a way to think about it: 300 Blackout is to AR-15s, as 8.6 Blackout is to the LR/SR AR10 platform. That was the idea. So we'll talk about the origin of that in a second. Question for you guys on the panel: 300 Blackout. I'm for any caliber. I'm for any gun that wants to get developed. Is 300 Blackout, is it hype? Does it have its applications? What do you guys think about 300 Blackout? So in other words, we're kind of saying, was 8.6 Blackout really necessary? What does it offer? So first of all, 300 Blackout, just kind of get that mindset. What do you guys think about it in general?
Okay.
Well, it has its purpose, I guess, because law enforcement is starting to use it quite a lot. It seems to be a viable caliber. It started out originally as a 300 Whisper created by the guys at TC. So it's it's all right. I'd like to find out more about this 8.6.
I got lots of info.
I briefly skimmed over the article there that you had.
The little link I put in there about the round. Yeah, it was originally called 8.6 Creedmoor because it's based on the 6.5 Creedmoor case.
Right.
And that was necessary for the bullet options, which are insane, which we'll get to in a little bit. So Squib, what's your, or Foos, go ahead. What's your take on it, Foos?
My take is with a 300 Blackout, previously there was nothing designed to be super and subsonic with just a change of loading. That's where I think its claim to fame was. Now, could you do 308 super and sub? Yes. Could you do this other stuff? But yes, with pretty much any round out there. But this is the only one that was designed. Excuse me, I'm burping. Was designed for that that wide range of projectiles in the same spec and everything. And actually have loading without it being, wildcat loadings. Like, if you use 3 point, now this is just saying, I'm just throwing out numbers and everything. 3.5 grains of tight group in a, 120 grain pill of down your 308. It's going to be great. Real low recoil or stuff, but that's outside of the SAMI specs. 300 Blackout is SAMI specs were made for super and super and subsonic. like the 220s, the 200 grains, all the way down to 124, 123. It's the cartridge was designed to handle that wide range, and it's the first one that I know of that was designed that from the get-go.
And again, adapted for the AR-15 platform with very little modifications required. I mean, investment-wise, switching over to a caliber, it's barrel. Yeah, barrel. For a lot of people, it's just slapping on a new upper. You can use your AR-15 mags. There's some specialty 300 Blackout mags out there you can get.
Yeah, that's just supports it a little bit better.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Squib, what's your take on 300 Blackout, man? Was it because you bring this one up a lot? It's answering a question that was never asked. Do you think that 300 Blackout, because it was asked, I believe, by the military, to go to some of these ammo companies who develop this round that's going to work, CQB applications. Squib, what's your take on 300 Blackout in general?
So I'm the caliber skeptic. I'm the guy who's always going, why did they invent this? Nobody asked for it. There's already 1, 2, 3, 10 calibers that exist that do this job. Why make a new caliber when you can't even get ammo on the shelves? Blah, 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 right? The technology, bullets are better, blah, blah, blah. 300 Blackout was one of those cartridges. I never had any interest in it at all. And my son wanted his first AR in 300 Blackout. So I had to put one together. And I talked to Echo's Reloading Chamber about it. And he said, dude, you're going to love this thing. He says, I'm telling you. He goes, it's like shooting a 1022. I'm not kidding. It don't have any kick. It don't have any blast. You're going to like it. Because I was doing a 16-inch carbine. And
okay. Yeah, and a 10.5, it thumps pretty good. I'd say it's on the same playing field as like a 762 by 39 recoil wise. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm not gonna put together an AR under 16 inches unless I SBR it, which I'm not opposed to doing. I just too lazy. So
it's all right.
Anyhow, took it to the range, shot it. It was exactly what he said. Seriously, it's like shooting a 1022. I was like, wow. My wife shoots it. She goes, when are you going to build me one of these? Right. And I've got all this stuff downstairs. I just too lazy. Haven't, put it together for, but, and I'm too, I'm putting myself first. I still want to do that 450 Bushmaster. So I'll probably get that before she gets her 300 Blackout. But, it's, I was pleasantly surprised. And as a reloader, I already had stuff to reload 30-06. And, there was tons of 300 Blackout brass laying all over the range because I get free range pickup. So I've been keeping it, but not necessarily thinking I'd reload 300 Blackout. If somebody says, hey, man, I need this. Do you happen to have it? Here, I'll send it.
It does bring a premium because there's not a ton of it just sitting around all over the place. It's not just I can go get a bag of 5.56 for reloading at the gun store. It's like 300 Blackout is a little bit harder to come by.
And you can modify 5.56 223 for it, but I don't like to do that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't like, once again, I guess the lazy factor, whatever you want to put in there. So I had stuff that where the head stamp is 300 Blackout. I had plenty of brass, right? I already had the bullets. The powder is uses a lot of powder that I use in other loads. I mean, primers. All I had to really do was get the dies. So, there's nothing to it.
So what he just said is something that a lot of reloaders or a lot of people don't think about reloading. He already had a lot of the stuff to do it because he's in the hobby. Like I look at reloading and training and shooting as 3 separate hobbies. Like reloading into itself is a hobby. Shooting itself is a hobby. And then anything you do past that is another hobby because each goal is completely different. With reloading, having all this stuff, with Squib saying, oh, I have everything, all I need is dies, because he's already in reloading. Like, if you reload for yourself and you buy something else, all of a sudden you're like, well, this is easy, or I can't buy this ammo, but I really want this gun. You start looking and go, well, with maybe an extra $30 or $40, I already have everything to do this. So, okay, now I'm going to go out and buy that firearm in that caliber because I'm just going to spend an extra $30 to get a set of dies, and you're off to the races.
Yeah. So again, here's the thing about it. This is why it hasn't come out sooner. I actually watched about an 8-minute interview with Q, a couple guys that work from Q, which is the company that developed the honey badger and the sugar weasel. They are the primary company. They are the guys that basically developed 8.6 Creedmoor, which became 8.6 Blackout. So there's a couple things they wanted to do. The first one is they wanted to secure ammo deals with major manufacturers. So they've got Guerrilla Ammunition and Hornady Ammunition that are going to be manufacturing the ammo. They wanted to get the ammo in production before they announced the firearms and the barrels. They wanted to make sure that the barrels, any technology behind it was open source. It was available to any company that wants to design a barrel or a gun. They're not making it proprietary at all, which some of these Wildcat calibers, I think some of the firearms are exclusive to just a few manufacturers. So they want to get it out there. And again, you might say, well, it's answering a question that was never being asked, right? But when you look at what this offers and what it does, it's pretty damn impressive. So they've been working on this for a long time. They just recently announced that barrels are going to be available. Faxon is making barrels for it initially, and they've got the technology they've shared it. Anybody that wants it can make the barrels for it, right? They're going to start making barrels for it in June. And again, I'm not endorsed by any of these companies. This is just what's going on. And they said that they learned, because I guess some of the guys from Q were also in on the development of 300 Blackout, and they admitted they screwed up when it first came out because they didn't quite have certain specs released out there, like in terms of the firearm, so it would function properly, the ammo, the parameters. They just said that it was kind of a sloppy release when it came to 300 Blackout. It was kind of rushed to market, and they wanted to take their time on this. And they also said that ammo companies, now you guys can disagree and say, well, my ammo shelves are empty. Okay, ours are full at our stores here in Nebraska. There's ammo everywhere, not the prices you want, but there's ammo. Hornady wanted to wait until they could catch up on production before they started putting 8.6 Blackout into production. Because we say, well, it'd be nice if they focus on getting me some 9 or some 22. So I don't know about other markets. Some of you guys might complain still and say, well, the shelves are empty, but our Shields has everything. Every caliber's in stock. It's just not the prices you want to pay, right? So they wanted to make sure that they could get the ammo in production. They wanted to make sure there would be manufacturers on hand to make guns for it. And Remington's going to do, I think, a 700 in it. They wanted to make sure there'd be barrels available for multiple platforms, semi-automatic and bolt action. So it's going to be subsonic or supersonic. The benchmark, what they were shooting for here was they wanted more muzzle energy than 308 out of a 20-inch barrel coming out of a 8.6 Blackout firearm chambered in 12.5 inches. And obviously with the powder choice that they're using, with the way that it's set up, and if you look at what 300 Blackout can do out of an 8.5-inch barrel supersonic, this is kind of that equivalent on the AR10 platform. And also you'd be able to use your existing LR, SR, AR10 magazines, lowers, components. All you needed was a new barrel, or if you decided to do it, a new complete upper. Or you could have and it uses the 308 bolt face. So they're very smart with how they did it. Now here's what blows my mind. Rate of twist on this, I don't know if you guys know. Okay, so rate of twist is the number of times the bullet is going to spin in the barrel before it exits. Rate of twist of this is 1 in 3. So it has 4 rotations of the bullet, 1 in 3. They said that they had destroyed dies trying to do the button rifling, and it had to be button rifling on the barrels because that's the lower cost way of making a barrel for barrel manufacturers. So they got a 1 in 3 twist. And I don't know if that's unique in firearms, but they said it was very difficult to produce that barrel. But they did. They've now got
I've heard of it.
Yeah, 1 in 3 twist. So it's getting like 30% more spin. Well, I don't know. What's your typical rated twist for an AR10? Do you guys have
1
any
in
clue?
10. 1 in 10.
1 in 10.
Okay, so this is 3 times. So it's producing this insanely fast, spinning, stable projectile.
Wow.
They wanted to make sure they had full metal jacket and expanding in super and subsonic. In fact, they've shown pictures of subsonic 8.6 Blackout rounds used by the guys from Q that went on safari hunts. They dropped Cape Buffalo with these things, and the round will completely open subsonic out to 300 yards in game. I mean, it's insane. This thing is crazy. Yeah.
So that means that there's not a lot of the bullet touching the bore, because so what it is, it's, people are like, oh, you need this type of twist for this weight of a projectile. Well, no, if you go up. So if you have a confined cylinder and you want to go up in weight, you have 2 ways to do it. One, change the components of the projectile, but we're going to have copper and lead. That's the standard. Or you have to make it longer. If you make it longer, you have more of the bullet in contact with your barrel. So you can have a less of a twist, and it will grab and go. Whenever you have a less of a contact area on your barrel, you need a faster twist in order to get that thing to spin, because the bullet, everyone's like, oh, the bullet twists at the same rate. Well, no, for a while, that bullet's going to be going down that barrel straight. It's not going to grab and twist from the very get-go. It's got to get going, get twisting to stabilize. So that 1.3 tells me there's not going to be much in contact with that barrel. And, talking about getting better ballistics in a 12.5-inch barrel than a 308 at with 20-inch barrel, they're playing with powder. They're running a lot. They're running a powder that burns faster, increase your pressure quicker than a 308 that's designed to burn all that powder in 20 inches. They're having a powder that's designed, more of a pistol powder. I'm not saying it is a pistol powder, but a closer to pistol powder.
And that's the one thing I don't know is what the powder specs are. That's what they're not saying right now. So
it's going to have to be a faster burning powder to get that pressure and velocity and to get that bullet moving down that 12 inches of barrel.
It's using a 338 Lapua round, and you can see the difference. This is 300 Blackout on the right and 8.6 Blackout on the left. They used a 6.5 Creedmoor case because they could basically cut it down as far as they needed to accept an insane spread of grain weights on ammo, which is going to go from 165 grain up to 360 plus grain. So this is just a crazy. So you guys that are reloaders, you want to talk about flexibility and loading, you can basically you can make this round to do whatever you want. I don't know if they're going to offer different sizes of brass based off of whatever pill you're going to run, but this is just a comparison of what it looks like. And some of these even go down even further. I mean, it's insane how much they're scrunching it down there. But again, by using the pistol powder, they're able to just pack these massive rounds essentially in the gun. They said the only major modification they really had to make to it was they had to enlarge the gas ports on the barrel more than 308. You have to have the gas block that's going to be required for it's going to be a little bit different, but it's not anything that's going to be hard to get. It's just a slightly different spec of gas port to ensure cycling if you're going to run it in semi-auto. And now let's also think about this. So other advantages of this, pros, okay, you're able to use your existing AR10 and LR/SR 308 platforms. So magazines are going to be compatible, lowers are going to be compatible. Your uppers will be if you want to do a barrel swap. Your bolt is going to be compatible. Obviously, you'd have to have a different, the gas block and stuff. Also, I'm thinking for hunting applications, if you're in a state where it's 5 rounds or less, you can use a 5-round 308 box mag with it, or depending on what your capacities are. Like in Nebraska, you can hunt with semi-automatic as long as it's, I believe, 5 rounds or less in the firearm. Maybe it's six or less on the firearm. So you can do a 5-round mag plus 1 in the chamber if you want to hunt with it. So like, hog hunters and stuff. I mean, this is totally opening up a new realm of hunting, which, yeah, go ahead, Foos. We're going to say something?
Nope.
Okay. Also price. Let's talk price. They're trying to get it established. Now the video that I'm watching was only a couple months old. So this is all new information. They're trying to set it up so it would be roughly the same price. Like you're going to buy ball ammo 8.6 Blackout. You pay the same price as 6.5 Creedmoor. They're trying to get it in that price point. So $1 a round, which I'm going to be honest with you, 300 Blackout. I don't know if you boys have priced it lately. It's 75 cents to $1 a round for 300 Blackout. I know online you can probably get it cheaper. But in the stores, I remember paying almost $1 a round before the ammo scares went on. I remember buying some of the last boxes of 300 Blackout at Walmart. I was getting Federal American Eagle. And I want to say I was paying $18 a box for 20. And that was just full metal jacket ball rounds. So they're going to have a variety of bullets available for this round, which gets me pretty excited. They were showing the rounds. They spin so fast when they hit and expand. Not only do they pedal open, they actually have they're shifted. They blend, or they turn into like a propeller. So it's an incredibly lethal round. So for hunting applications, the fact that you can take a 12.5-inch barreled firearm, drop your game at 350 to 400 yards because of the muzzle energy that's still there, that's pretty dang impressive. So that really, really has me going. So Captain Codebook is out there and says, wonder if there was going to be a round nose like 30-30, talk about terminal effect under 200 yards. Yeah, if you look up pictures of 8.6 Blackout, there are some rounds that look, they're just like massive. They look like a 30-30 round. So that's out there too. 6.5 Creedmoor case, 338 bullet, grain weights going from 165 grain to 360 plus grains. Ballistic performance, I was able to find this. So one of the guys was mentioning, you can take the supersonic out to 1,000 yards. They're saying you can still hit an 8-inch steel plate with very little holdover at 300 to 400 yards on subsonic. delivers more energy at 1,000 yards versus 308. So they're really trying to set these benchmarks for this round. So I hope it takes off and becomes popular, just because of the fact that it's not going to require you to go buy a whole nother gun. It's not going to require you to have a major investment in it. You can just go buy an upper, which I'm sure a lot of companies will be on board making uppers for it. Get yourself an upper or just a barrel if you're comfortable rebarreling, and you can jump into the platform.
One thing I see as a big advantage possibly to this is if this gets more popular, that means you're going to have more companies making your 338 projectiles, which then will help the 338 Lapua to be an easier caliber to get into if you want it, because that projectile will be more available at a more reasonable price just because of the more supply.
And the fact they got a couple, having the major manufacturers on board too, like Hornady, they're going to make reloading components. So hopefully they'll get a push for that out there too and keep up on supply and demand. They said they wanted something like, I don't remember what they said. They wanted 1 million rounds ready at launch time for press and for circulation, so that they can really get in people's hands. So that, because sometimes I'll read reviews of guns and like, yeah, I bought the 1 or 2 boxes of blah, blah, blah caliber that they actually had in stock. It wasn't what I wanted, but it's what we got to shoot. I mean, I'm even in the situation sometimes myself when I do range tests. I'll buy whatever's in stock on a certain kind of ammo. It might not be the grain weight that I wanted. It might not be a particular round, but I'm going to get it tested because I've got the gun for a limited amount of time.
You also have to think 1 million rounds is not very.
No,
it's not a lot.
20 rounds a box. I mean, some of these testers get 100 to 200 rounds each, and they're distributing it through every channel that asks for it, every magazine that wants it, every publication, promo, sending it out to gun stores to try it, or manufacturers to make their guns based off of it. So yeah, but they wanted to make sure they'd have stable production on it, because they don't want it to come out and then it's the one ammo you can't find. I mean, every caliber basically sold out over the last 3 years. There were calibers that we just, they're gone, right? You wouldn't see a box for a year. Now things are starting to catch up a little bit. I think it's definitely one of those things that's going to help out. So I'm trying to see if I can find a little more information on it. Designed to work with pistol or carbine link gas systems. Again, 12.5-inch barrel. They're going to have a variety of barrel lengths, like they are going to do 16 and so on, but you'll get to a point where you're not going to really gain much because it was never developed to burn past a certain barrel length. So you're only going to be, mild gains if you go past a certain length. Plus the barrels are going to be fairly heavy. That's the one catch about it, because you are running that AR10 platform, which is going to be a little more robust. So you can expect a little more weight, but the 12.5-inch 8.6 Blackout is going to weigh less, obviously, than the 16-inch 308 if you have a comparable upper that's going along with it. They're making facts, and barrels are all going to come threaded. They said if you want to run a suppressor with it, you have to run a 338 Lapua spec suppressor. It's not something you could just run through any 30 caliber suppressor. You'd have to have something that can handle the pressure and what it can do. Okay, so ballistics, what I found so far, the 165 grain, it's pushing 2,500 feet per second and 2,100 foot-pounds of energy. The 300 plus grain subsonics, 650 pounds of energy at the muzzle, and I couldn't find the velocity. 550 foot-pounds of energy at 600 yards. I find that really hard to believe, but there's not a lot of ballistic information out there right now. So, hopefully we'll get more information as it comes along. So what do you guys think? Single shot, is this something that kind of captures your interest?
Yeah, it has piqued my interest here a little bit. I'd like to see more about it, as developers come out with more and more information. I do have an LR10, so, there's a possibility I might pick up a barrel and give it a try. I've got a couple of projects on the list there that I want to do, so we'll see what happens with this. It does sound interesting, though, but when you mentioned the barrel length here, they use that formula that I was talking about here a while back, and that's your effective barrel length for caliber.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't go beyond that because that longer barrel situation was not productive as far as what they was looking to do. So I could see that. I could see why they went with the shorter barrels.
Well, yeah, and like I said, with the powder burn, they didn't really need to go further, and then wanted to have something that. When they also did mention that, obviously military law enforcement has an interest in this too. Just like with 300 Blackout back in the day, there was a push from military and law enforcement and stuff, which I thought was kind of interesting. That Q was huge in the development of 300 Blackout, yet Q still had the ATF stop by with the honey badgers. Then they'd send them like a cease and desist order on the honey badger carbines and stuff, or the pistols.
Yeah.
PDWs or SBRs and stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
So let's take a look at our little poll here real quick.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Foos.
So with all these calibers, whenever you start getting into the intermediate or full-size cartridges, and even, the pistol, the curve of like, let's say, this is a full-size cartridge. What a full-size cartridge can do is very broad thing. What these Wildcat cartridges are doing is, okay, in this small space, it is better than this other thing. So if you're like, I want to go hunting for whatever, a lot of different cartridges could do it. But if you're in this very small space, like let's say, you're trying to shoot through brush at 200 yards and you're having to hit a bear or something that has really thick hide, this may be 3% better than another cartridge. So yeah, a lot of these cartridges, they are trying to find that extra 2, 3, maybe 4% of gain, sometimes even 1% of gain over something else to make money.
Yeah, I really, once more information comes out, we start to get some ballistics charts on this. If we knew more about it, we could probably calculate that and figure it out. I really want to see, like, on the far end, how much of an energy advantage are we really talking over 308? Is it really worth not ditching your platform, but putting the money into this? Is it something that, with a comparable weighted round, like the Supersonic 8.6, is it going to be able to, what kind of gain are we talking here? Is it only 25 feet per second at 500 yards more or not,
308 usually, the normal loading of 308 usually goes transonic 800-900 yards, 700-900 yards, depending on altitude. If this could hold supersonic to 1,000, that's something.
I don't know if they mentioned. I do have a little ballistics information on it. Because 6.5 Creedmoor does, or it's just in the process of transitioning out of supersonic at 1,000 yards. That's one of the big things about 6.5 Creedmoor.
I thought it went out to 11 or 12.
Okay, and maybe depends on the grain weight, or the bullet. Yeah.
Something about that twist rate too. 1 and 3. Wow. I would definitely not use anything for a light bullet in that, because it's going to have the same effect as taking a 22-250 and loading like a 35, 30, 37, 40 grain bullet in that thing. If it does not have a jacket thickness to suit it, that bullet is going to blow apart the minute it leaves that barrel. It's not going to hit
somehow. It's, and like I said, that's 1 and 3 is for that's going to be for sub and supersonic.
Yeah, so
that's
210 grain Barnes TTSX at 2400 will have about 1.4 more MOA more drop at 300 yards than a 308 168 grain. So just looking at this ballistics, I guess it was for a 210 Barnes at 600 yards, you're still dropping 19 MOA.
Yeah.
So you're still gonna have to dope it like a 308. You're not gonna be. It's not a super flat cartridge because you're only running at 2,400 feet per second. You're not pushing it faster.
Looking at the subsonic, I'm just looking at, there's ARBuildJunkie.com's got some info here. They're pushing it to be the first subsonic sub MOA cartridge. They say that you'll be able to shot groups at 300 meters that are sub 3 inches with subsonic. They're going to do a 300 grain Sierra Match King 338 bullet loaded to 1,050 feet per second out of a 12.5 inch barrel. So and the thing is though, then you start to run into, you know, all these other calibers like the 375 Raptor, and there's stuff that, I mean, we've talked about a lot of these calibers before.
338 Federal.
Yeah, that was, I think they said there was a reason why they kind of deviated from that when they pushed 8.6 Creedmoor. I think it was because they wanted to use the 6.5 Creedmoor case just because of the expandability, like the fact they can cut it down or the capacity for powder and such. So this really does have my interest, and the fact that this time around they're kind of pushing it with enough support for the industry. I like that, because a lot of times a caliber will come out, like let's take 224 Valkyrie for instance. Bear Creek Arsenal sent me an upper for 224 Valkyrie, you know, and I went to the store, and obviously ammunition, there was like, you know, they carried 2 different uppers for it. I had to use a different, I don't remember what the magazine was I ended up having to buy for it. There was a different magazine. I bought an ASC mag for it, and I can't remember what it was calibered for, what it was chambered for originally. But anyway, you know, the only ammo I could get for it was Federal American Eagle, and that was it. They had nothing else. And you know, that was one of those things where they were trying to like be ballistically superior to 223 to have more energy out to a certain length and stuff. But it just, 224 Valkyrie just never really took off. I mean, maybe somebody out there watching is heavily vested in it. If you are, that's great. But when I go to the store, I'll find that American Eagle ammo, maybe one soft point and that's it, or one poly tip round for it and that's it. There's nothing else out there. So I think the difference this time is, you know, you've got, well, I mean, but Federal making 224 Valkyrie, that's a major ammo manufacturer, and they still make ammo for it. I still have 2 boxes of it actually. But the fact that they're trying to push this out there and they want to see other companies pick up on the technology and promote it, I think it's a good thing. So I don't know what Q's investment is going to be, like what they're expecting their returns to be, if they're going to get a percentage of every Faxon barrel sold, or if they're in on the ammo sales from Hornady, or what they're going to do. But just in general, I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of neat that that they're going to push this new caliber, and that it's taken them, you know, a couple of years, but I think they're doing it the right way, you know, deliberately.
Squib, is this something that people don't? Something people don't understand is calibers take more than just a year or 2 or 3.
Oh, they said they've been talking about this since 300 Blackout came out. They kind of started chatting about it, but then they kind of put it on the wayside, mainly because of COVID and manufacturing issues, and just trying to keep up with demand. So
and the same with this 30 whatever that Federal's coming out with, 30 Super. Like it takes 10 years to do some of this stuff. So everything's already on timeline stuff. You know, money's plans is already gone. That's why, you know, if you think about, well, in this ammo shortage, why come out with something new? It's already been, you know, the money's already been gone for some of these new rounds, like 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just stop and go, oh, well, we're going to pause it because the investment, you have contracts, you have legal obligations to do stuff.
Yeah. So we're looking at, you know, we're talking about those velocity too, the velocity of this round. They're also saying that one of the reasons why they try to keep the feet per second between 2,000 and 2,400 feet per second is because they said as a supersonic round leaving the firearm, it's actually quieter than something leaving at 3,500 feet per second in terms of the crack. And they said it's much easier to suppress even if you're running supersonic. Looking at the info, they're saying that they're going to offer 2 different, I don't know if it's Q or whoever the company is, they're going to offer 2 different suppressors for it. One for hunting, and then just a full size one that you can use for just all around. So they have one that will pull back a few of those decibels, especially if you're going to be running subsonic. So, yeah, but you're right, Foos. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that's just not going to happen overnight. So, let's see here. M. Gabriel says an 8.6 subsonic with a 1 and 3 twisted 1,080 feet per second is spinning at 4,320 RPMs. And the jacket is very wide, increasing GS. I'm not sure what he means by that, but we'll probably figure that out. A lot of you guys are complaining about the temperature outside. Sorry to hear that. Chris Bolus, here you go. This sums it up. You know, 224 Valkyrie didn't do anything that my 6.5 Grendel didn't do, or my 5.56. Yeah, it really got pushed big time across a lot of channels on YouTube. There's a lot of videos that were featuring it and trying to show off what it could do, giving you that extra, 200, feet per second at 1,000 yards versus 5.56 or whatever. But the one thing they didn't really take into consideration was the bullet weight getting pushed because of the wind, just the variances and the lack of accuracy you're going to run into with 224 Valkyrie at a distance, just because it becomes very unstable at the end of its run. So Zinger says, what percentage of shooters are good enough to notice the benefits of these new calibers? 1 or 2% maybe. That's a good question. Guys, help me out here. Who's going to buy this? Is it just going to be us gun nuts? Do you think? I really think it depends on the marketing, maybe, of how they push it. Like if, say, Springfield gets a hold of it and pushes it as
it's all about the marketing.
No,
All about the marketing.
Yeah.
It's marketing, and then you know, like I said before, those people that their usage is in that area of where this is the 1, 2, 3, 5% better than something else. If they have a need for that extra performance, they will buy this. Like a lot of these people are like, oh, I'm going to go out, you know, hunting out west. Here's my parameters of hunting. They'll pick the cartridge for that, and they'll go out and they'll buy, you know, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 rifle to use that one weekend or whatever, because it's optimal. And if that's what they do, that's what they do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this gets pushed across. So I have a tendency to sometimes predict the future on this channel. I want to toot my horn for a second. We'll talk about calibers that then become popular or guns that everybody hears about down the road. I got a feeling we're probably going to see, since 300 Blackout's been out for a while, there's been a lot of content put out on that. I think we're probably going to start to see a lot of videos in the next 6 months to 12 months on 8.6 Blackout and the new uppers and why you should upgrade and this versus 308 and so on. So I think it's going to be one of those things we're definitely going to hear more about. The fact that they're pushing it out there, in my opinion, they're marketing it the right way. But yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, who's going to buy it? I think a lot of people that already invested in the AR10 or LRSR platform are going to be the ones that will buy into it. Just like me with 762x39 uppers. You know, I've got an AR15 lower. All I need is some mags and a $200 upper, and I can go play with 762x39. That's cheaper than an AK, right? So I mean, that's why I bought into it, because I like the muzzle blast is pretty sweet too. But it's like, hey, and at that point, also the 762x39 ammo, you know, 4 years ago, was cheaper, and I could buy a case of it for less than a case of 5.56. You know, steel case versus steel case, they're about the same. But in my opinion, you know, 762x39 offered much more ballistically. So that's why I bought that upper. So I was curious about it, and then I ended up buying a 300 Blackout upper for one of my pistol lowers, 10.5-inch, you know, rear charger from Bear Creek. And just because I wanted to get into 300 Blackout because, it's just awesome, and I want to get a suppressor, and you know, I bought a bunch of ammo for it. I bought all the Magpul PMags and stuff, and I mean, and it does sit as a good, you know, home defense firearm. So this is like, if I was invested in AR10 or LRSR platforms, I would consider picking one of those up. In fact, it's kind of has my interest. The fact that you can get, you know, a 308 lower, like a nice arrow. I think they're called the M5 is what I think they call the lowers, if I'm not mistaken, by Arrow. That's their LRSR compatible lower, and then get yourself an upper. So I guess it kind of depends on who puts the uppers out and what the prices are. That's going to have a lot to do with it. But, you know, I look at companies, again, like Bear Creek, that offer a variety of calibers and uppers that are, you know, $250, $300 or less, and you can get into it. So
I think it's going to come down to barrel availability, marketing, and cost of your projectile. Cost of your rounds. I
think they'll create a lot of hype around it on YouTube in the next 12 months too, because when you think about a lot of the new guns that were announced at SHOT Show, like a lot of those are coming out now in videos. 6 months from now, things will start to kind of trickle off a little bit. Then you'll start to see this coming out this summer. We'll start to see more tests for a lot of the guns that were announced at SHOT Show, because they're finally going to be making it in the hands of users, channels, and the media, you know, in 6 months this summer, when everybody keeps saying these guns are going to come out, you know, Q2 of 2022, but I think we're maybe going to hear some more about it. So, okay, Squib, what's your take on 8.6 Creedmoor, man, or 8.6 Blackout? What do you think about it?
I'm not interested, but I mean, if somebody wants to get it, get it. I mean, there's lots of calibers and platforms I'm just not interested in, and we all have our individual tastes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was skeptical about 300 Blackout.
Yeah.
Till I shot it. So I don't know. It could be another situation where one of you guys have got this and you're like, here, try it out. And I mean, I remember the first time I shot a 450 Bushmaster, you know, I had that reaction, right? I looked over, I smiled, I laughed, right? Because I was like, this isn't too bad, right? But it's just nothing I'm really interested in. It's nothing that fits any purpose for me. And I have so many projects out there that are
incomplete. I know. Yeah.
I'm backlogging and backfilling, and right, like while you guys were talking, I was looking at some custom gunsmithing work that I kind of need done. So, you know, I really don't really have anything to add other than hype is what sells this stuff, not necessarily performance. And like Foos was saying, they've been working on this and it's going to take some time to prove out and stuff like that. I mean, time will tell, like with anything else, but sometimes hype wins out and sometimes the community or the culture kind of comes back with a wah wah.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like what I'm seeing with 5.7. They keep releasing pistols in 5.7. It's like, that's okay. That's one of the rounds where it's hard to find. I mean, I don't see that on the shelves a lot, and you might see a ton of it in your neck of the woods. But like, they come out with a gun. It's the 5.7. You can get a 5.7 pistol for $500, and go shoot. It's like, but there's no ammo. There's no support.
That's just it. Okay, you get the new gun, and then you come to find out you can't get parts for it. You get the new gun, and mags are $60 each. You get the new gun, and only 2 companies make ammo for it. They make only like 1 or 2 batches a year. The reloading components are maybe not as easy to get, things like that. So the more support this has, in my opinion, for somebody like me, the more support this has, the more I'm going to be interested in it as opposed to just buying the hype. But I know a lot of people just buy the hype. 300 Blackout has a lot of support because it was built on that 300 Whisper base, which really was a kind of a niche thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it was built on that base and because of compatibility and the fact that it's been out for a while. I didn't go and, assemble a 300 Blackout AR the year that 300 Blackout came out. It had already been out for a while.
Yeah.
So this is something where 10 years down the road, we can see if this one survived, if that 300 super carrier or 30 super carrier, whatever the heck it is, survived.
30 supercharger.
Do we all remember
the 30
45 gap? Do you remember 45
round.
gap? I mean,
35 gap. We just start coming up with stuff that we just, We need to have a little random board, like a number, and then some numbers that follow. And just start coming up with just funny caliber names for stuff, Yeah.
Oh yeah, 22, there's a few of them.
22 Blackout, 22 mini out,
Glock had to invent a sport to sell its proprietary round that nobody else adopted.
Was that 45 gap?
45 gap, right?
45 gap.
There's a Glock and 45 gap, and I don't know how many ammo manufacturers made this stuff. I've never even looked for reloading dies. I'm not even interested in it, but my understanding is the 45 gap was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was invented by Glock for some sort of Glock shooting sports that they kind of come up with. And it's like, you guys already have the market because everybody wants to buy a Glock because the cops carry it. So you got tons of free advertising. Why do you have to invent a sport in order to sell your crap?
Well, I do like the fact, like I said, I'll say this again, this is one of those rare times, in my opinion, that I'm seeing a new caliber coming out that actually has some intelligence behind the marketing and support for it. So we'll see. But the fact that they knew that they wanted to make sure it had a good launch and that they had manufacturers on board and they've got support for it. Yeah, we'll see. Because this is all recent information. This is stuff that just came out at SHOT Show saying, hey, it's going to come out. We've got support from major manufacturers making bolt action guns for it. And we've got, barrel companies. You're going to get some uppers coming out. So, because Q stuff is insanely expensive, but yeah.
Well, support and infrastructure will win you the long game. Okay. It'll win you the long game. And that may be coupled with the marketing hype. The marketing hype gets people's foot in the door or gets their foot in the door with the customers. And then the support keeps it going or gets more people into or brings some prices down or whatever. I mean, if you're paying $50, $60, $70 for a box of 20 rounds of this stuff, and you're when then people says, no, I'm not getting into reloading, this may not be the caliber or platform for you. It just it's a wait and see.
Ammo cost is another big one too. I don't know. Sometimes people consider the cost of ammo if they can do it at $1 a round. I mean, that's good for what you're getting, what you're gaining, right? Because of the fact that you're using a lot of 6.5 Creedmoor compatibility. There's not this expensive cost in developing it or putting it out there. Hornady, they wanted to try to set with Hornady a price point of $1 per round, $20 a box, so you can at least afford to go shoot it. Which again, if you get into 300 Blackout, it's $1 a round. It's a $30 per magazine experience, unless you can get it a little bit cheaper. And hell, even the Barnaul steel case that came out that was supposed to be cheap because they came out with Barnaul. I think I bought it at $11 a box for 300 Blackout. I bought 100 rounds of it. That's now $20 a box just because of demand, and it's no longer being imported. That blew that out of the water. So trying to find an inexpensive 300 Blackout. I think Tula, was making some 300 Blackout, and again, that's going to disappear. So you got to have some good ammo support, have it at a good price, and I think people will definitely buy it.
Yeah. A lot of the
go ahead.
calibers in my world stemmed from the metallic silhouette shooting genre, and there's a lot of them that they're viable for a lot of other things, but they were developed for the steel silhouette shooting game, and they've also crossed over to like this 300 Blackout. 300 Whisper originally was a steel metallic shooting cartridge, along with the TCU line. So there's a lot of those that crossed over, and I do like that TCU line. That's one of the projects that I'm going to be working on here eventually, is getting a barrel for one of the TCU series and doing some testing with it. That would be an excellent short-range hunting cartridge that's based off the 223 platform, AR platform.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah.
M. Gabriel says 8.6 Blackout will need to have a heavy jacket or be constructed as an A-frame to not explode.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be
what I was
interesting
mentioning before.
Yeah, with just that pressure and that force and that kind of spin. The fact that you can have expanding subsonic rounds that are even, the pedals are even bent from the whatever centrifugal force or the twisting of it, it's that fierce. I mean, that's a wicked round. So anyway, that kind of has my attention. What else we got up there? There's a few comments I was going to mention up there.
I have absolutely zero interest for this cartridge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how it's marketed. We're going to see what people's, and from a hunting perspective, I mean, that's especially if you're already invested in 308, maybe you want something that offers a little bit more without lugging a 12-pound rifle out into the field. You want to drop a couple pounds, but you want to stick with your LRSR platform. That's going to be an option for you. So
I think reports that come back, not from the people that are shilling or anything else like that, the sincere reports that are coming back, especially through social media, because that's the new media, right? Of how well this thing performs or how cost effective it is, or just the difference comparing it to something somebody else has used before, that might go a long way too with those of us who may be a little bit more experienced and don't just throw our money around willy-nilly. Now, the people out there that do everything on the cheap aren't ever even going to be interested in this or anything like this. They want to keep it down to a bare minimum and do everything, and you're never going to reach that. But then you've got the other people that, they go and buy expensive guns all the time, and this is just another toy for them. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. That's the American way, right?
Well, that's why I bought the 300 Blackout. It's like I didn't really ever see myself really buying a suppressor, or I kind of got it thinking, oh, this is gonna be awesome,
Same
but
with
see,
me.
like the 300 Blackout, you don't need I've shot it suppressed, and it okay, cool, but you don't need a suppressor to make the 300 Blackout work.
Defense application.
But see, that was something I didn't agree with regard to that. Everybody's like, look, man, it's based off the 300 Whisper, and this is you get this, and then you get a can. It's like, you don't have to, though. But they're pushing that, and I think that might have made some people go, I'm not even interested in this. Whereas like what Foos was talking about in the beginning about, this is another one of those where you've already got everything you need. If you're already reloading this caliber, you've pretty much got everything you need to do this. It's cost effective or something. And I don't think they pushed it. The marketing hype was not really from that. I mean, it was, you can just drop it on your existing upper and you can use existing mags up to a point and things like that. But it was the whole, yeah, man, this is for your suppressed game and you've got to have it in a pistol length and and it's like, no, there are more options. So it'd be interesting to see where the options go with this. Does it get pushed as this is a wealthy person's gun, or is this the average person's gun? And what do you end up doing with it?
We'll see if they ask a premium for the barrels too. I'm kind of curious what a person can source a barrel for. Somebody who really wants to just do a rebarreling, or have a rifle they have sitting around rebarreled for it, Because I mean, they're gonna have barrels for the Remington 700 that they're gonna make for us. So you'll be able to just take that platform and you can adapt it for the 8.6 Blackout. Bernie Sanchez says, I'm still finding 308 with no problem, so I'm building an Arrow M5. Chris Bullis says, the next big thing I want to do is maybe a 450 Bushmaster. Yeah,
I like that caliber.
There you go. And
I
Squib,
ran
you said
along
that's what you have
Squib.
also. You get a 450 Bushmaster, is that right?
No,
Yeah.
I'm getting one.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
thought you
getting
had one already. Okay,
No,
okay.
no.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the one I wanted, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one. This is the upper I want, right? And I said, all right, next payday, I'm gonna buy it. Next payday came, and I'm ready to buy it out of stock. Son of a
Oh man.
right, and
Oh, I
this
never
happens too.
fails.
You wouldn't
You got
believe how many
foosed.
gun
You
purchases
got
I've
foosed.
made because the one I really wanted wasn't in stock because these
Yeah.
morons don't keep inventory. I don't care what anybody wants to say. You don't keep inventory, you don't get my money. And then this other one that I like, I want, but it's much lower on the list. Well, that's the guy that's getting my money. So I'm already looking in a different direction, not even at 450 Bushmaster right now, because there's two that I want that are in stock. And hopefully they're in stock when I'm ready to buy them. And if not, well, then maybe if that 450 comes back. So it's whoever. There was a Marine general that once said, or was a colonel or a general who said, whoever wins the battle is there who gets there the firstest with the mostest. All right, if you want my money, you got to get there the firstest with the mostest. Sometimes it's not about price or getting free shipping, although that's a big thing for me. But if I've got the money and I'm ready to spend and it's out of stock, I'm going to squirrel over there and buy it from somebody else.
Yeah, pretty much.
So something else that people aren't thinking is there is a certain type of person out there that wants something just because it's in a different caliber, and they know that they'll never shoot it, don't care about ammo, they'll buy it, it'll be in their safe just to say they have it.
True. Yeah.
I know a
Like,
guy
oh, yeah, I've got
who,
one of those.
his first gun was like a $5,000 300 Weatherby hunting rifle. Like, I mean, just beautiful custom wood scope, the whole nine. I mean, and then he goes,
home,
"You
baby.
take me hunting and teach me how to hunt." And this is before I ever went hunting, right? And I'm going, dude, what did you do? Well, the guy is, filthy stinking rich. He doesn't know anything about guns. He wants a gun, and he's kind of indoctrinated. Okay, guns are for hunting. So he gets a hunting rifle, and then just because I'm a gun guy, and I had unsuccessfully gone hunting on family property that's 4 states away, he seems to think I'm going to be like his guide and I'm going to show him how to use this thing. And it's like, well, the first thing I would have said is don't buy a $5,000 hunting rifle that's going to sit in the safe. But if somebody comes over and goes, yes, I hunt, and it's another one of those, they look like they literally do dress up like Elmer Fudd when they go hunting, right? These are people that are, what I'm saying.
Got the hat with
there was a great
down.
picture. One of the guys I work with, he'd been hunting all of his life, and he's a blue collar guy. And the VP of sales wanted him to, and so he shows that he goes out and buys. This isn't the guy I'm talking about the 5,000 rifle, but this guy bought another several $1,000 rifle and showed up, and they took a picture together. And here's my buddy in flannels and jeans and got his orange hat on and just got a regular old like Remington 700. And here's the other guy, and he's got the vest and the hat and it's all new clothes, and it's just. And that's the kind of person that could be the one who buys this rifle if it's very expensive or the ammo is expensive or whatever. And like Foos says, he has it to has it. It's bragging rights. It's in the safe. When his friends come over, they can look at it. He'll never actually use it. And I'm not saying that's what this caliber is, but this could be that for some people. I've actually experienced this sort of thing.
I'll tell you something, Squib. That 450 Bushmaster, after I built it, took me a while to get it all together. But that thing is comparable to a 45-70 in ballistics. That thing hits like a freight train.
Yeah, I've just the little bit of experience I've had with it impressed me enough to say, okay, I'll do this. And it wasn't I was against the 450 Bushmaster, and I don't think it's a question somebody didn't ask. This was an answer to how do we fit within these BS hunting laws that don't make any sense, that aren't going to go away. How do we fit into these BS hunting laws and still have something that works? And that's, it wasn't for me because of the cost. It wasn't for me because I already had a 44 Magnum. It wasn't for me because even though I had shot it once and I said, I like this. Okay, this kind of, but there you go.
I went as a FUD for Halloween a couple of years ago. That was back in 4 years ago.
Okay, all right.
Look at that hat, guys. Look at the. You can imagine the size of the
though,
forehead you could contain in that hat. I mean, look at that. That's not to scale. That is actual size.
So if you had that, but you were wearing like designer honey, you remember that?
That is designer, bro. I got that at the gas station where they sell permits and beer. So
there's that historical picture of Theodore Roosevelt where he bought very expensive hunting clothes before he had ever become like an outdoorsman and stuff, right? This is when he was a dandy and stuff. And that's kind of what it looked like. But if you had like a designer shirt and a designer pants and designer boots and all this stuff that maybe were functional, but it looked like you went to the, I just don't know. I can't even explain it. Like some sort of high-end store to buy hunting clothes and stuff. But yeah, that picture is very similar.
Designer snapback, bro.
There you go. See, that's more like the guy that was standing next to him.
You never know what you're going to find when you follow me on Instagram,
together,
people.
and you got the guy who's been hunting his whole life, and then you got the guy who wants to learn how to hunt, and he's got the $5,000 rifle and the $1,000 boots and the designer hat.
Yep. I'm telling you, man. Here, I got one more to show off. I'll show you the guy that buys the 450 Bushmaster. Here's the guy that buys the 450 Bushmaster, right? He doesn't read about it. He just wants to have it in his collection. There you go. That's the guy that buys the 450 Bushmaster right there. Look at that. Look at that farmer stand. Look at that pasty whiteness going on there. I'm telling you, I got some epically awesome Instagram photos. You guys can follow me over on Instagram if you want to. So it's pretty. Yeah.
Comparing it to the 450 Bushmaster was a question somebody actually did ask. How do we get more power but comply with these laws, right?
Yeah.
Was this caliber a question that was asked, or was this a marketing gimmick by a company to make themselves relevant again?
Yeah. And I think it's cool that, and like I said, that's kind of the way that I see him doing the 8.6 Blackout too, is, how can we get more performance, especially for like the hunting crowd, because they were mentioning the hunting crowd quite a bit in the promo material, saying 12.5-inch barrel, a little bit less to lug across the prairie, which I'd appreciate something like that. Hog hunters having a more effective round, and maybe a round that's a little bit cheaper. Or imagine getting more performance than 300 Blackout for the same price as 300 Blackout. I mean, to me, that's just absolutely awesome. Got a few comments I want to get to here real quick. Chris Bullis again. Next big thing I want to do is maybe a 450 Bushmaster. Burnaby Sanchez says, I'm still finding 308 with no problem, so I'm building an Aero M5. The Aero M5 lower is fantastic. It is a really, really nice lower. It's LR/SR compatible. I used it with a 6.5 Creedmoor Bear Creek Arsenal upper that I tested on the channel a year ago, and that lower is great. They're budget-wise, I think they're maybe around $300, maybe a little bit less if you just buy one. I bought mine as a strip lower and built it from a parts kit, all Aero parts and stuff. It was a little bit cheaper for me to go that route than to buy one manufactured. And I bought it during the height of pandemic purchases, so I was surprised I even got what I got. New York Outcast, here you go. Quote of the day. I'm holding out for the 300 PMR. That's about a quarter a round. 300 poor man round. So there we go. We needed 300 PMR to come out there. Maybe have like paper cartridges with it or something, and
so where the 300 Blackout, they adapted something to fit the commercial market. I'm not saying 300 Whisper was illegal or anything. It was a niche round, right? And it was looked at for the military, and I'm sure that they trialed it with special ops, or maybe even got used that way, but it wasn't your standard infantry round and whatnot. It got adapted, and then 450 Bushmaster and 350 Legend were answering the questions that people asked. Mm-hmm. Let's just see what this turns out to be. Hopefully it's not a 45 gap.
Oh man, create a whole series, just a competitive shooting series just to push the round. I never realized that. That's a good point. Okay, so Terry Smith's Kitchen has a pretty good one here. I've got a theory that gun owners are like guitar players in the sense that they erroneously think that buying all the fancy toys will make you better when it all comes down to the fundamentals in most cases.
Okay, and you know what? IV888888 did a video. Can you buy accuracy? And he was correct, in my opinion, in his assessment that to a certain point you can buy accuracy. You can get stuff that works better, that gives you advantages, that improves this, that improves that dumbs it down, that takes some of the work out of it. But at the end of the day, Travis, it does come down to, skill. You can have somebody with iron sights and an older platform outshoot somebody who's got the most expensive optic and the newest caliber, you name it, right? And the Elmer Fudd hat and everything else. So sometimes it's kind of nice to have a mix in your collection. You've got some of the expensive fun stuff, or you've got the custom built this, or you've got that, or this or that, and it's fun, it's great, and it does work, and you have a use for it, right? And it sure gives you some bragging rights when you're at the gun range. I mean, I've said it before. Gun range etiquette: don't ever show up to the gun range in a car unless it's a rental because you're out of town. Right.
Yeah, I take my Kona all the time, but everybody else at the range here in Lincoln has CUVs, so I don't really care. I'll kind of blend in. It's either half pickup trucks and some RAV4s and some Subarus. You get a mixed bag.
An SUV or a pickup truck is gun etiquette, right? But
I got roof racks on my vehicle, so that says I'm serious about the outdoors.
There you go. But also when you show up to the range, up to the range with a gun nobody else has, don't hoard it. All right. If you want to show off a little bit, okay, whatever. But if somebody goes, "Could I shoot that?" Absolutely, let them shoot that, because it kind of does add to the bragging rights. But it also kind of, it's good range etiquette as well. So somebody has this new thing out there and they're banging away and it's making this big muzzle blast or something. And somebody says, "Hey man, can I?" You might want to say, "Hey, it's pretty expensive, so here, I'll give you a couple rounds, or I'll let you shoot one round." When I shot the 450 Bushmaster, my friend let me shoot one round out of it because at that time it was just so expensive. But that's something where that might get somebody going. Man, I don't normally buy guns like this if it does turn out to be pricey or hard to get or something, but now I'm going to work for it. Now it's a goal, right? Sometimes that one experience is enough to get somebody hooked and they're going, "I'll find a way to buy this."
Oh yeah definitely. Again, it's always kind of nice to have that experience whenever you're at the range.
That Bushmaster with a 325 grain FTX bullet, I wouldn't hesitate to take a bear with that thing at all. Nail him right there, done. He ain't going nowhere. Like I said, that thing hits like 45-70. And that's what it is a 45-70 on an AR platform.
Man, if you can run semi-auto, you've got that follow-up shot if you need it.
That's it.
A split-second follow-up shot, especially if you're being charged by some animal. So
a good break on the front of that thing will negate a lot of the recoil to it. Plus, you're operating the gas system. So you got a lot of advantages of that caliber. And put it to you this way: I took an 8-inch, half-inch plate AR500 target at 100 yards, and the same bullet that I just mentioned. I hit that plate so hard it flipped it right up over the tripod I had that thing mounted to.
We've discussed a lot of those calibers. It's insane the amount of energy and velocity these things can produce. So,
And that's something where you've got a law that you have to comply with, and you comply with the law. You're not skirting the law. You're not thumbing your nose in the DNR's face or anything else like that. You're going, "Hey, you made this specification in order to be able to use in this region to hunt with, and it fits in there. We can't help that it's got a butt ton of extra power behind it."
Well, and in my opinion, it's going to give you the more humane kill. You're complying, but at the same time, you're also, and I'm not trying to fun out. I'm just saying, if you're going to hit your game, you're going to drop it, and you're not going to have to worry about the animal suffering. It's going to go down. It's going to save you tracking time, dragging time. So that's it. That's it.
That is a selling point for me. Yes. When I looked at what everybody in my hunting group who was carrying a 450 Bushmaster was doing, and then when I used it, I was like, I love my 44 Special. I love my 44 Magnum. That Henry rifle is a great rifle, but I've had situations where I've hit the deer and it's gotten up and tried to get away. And even though I did a lethal shot, it's going to run to the neighbor's property. So I pop it again and it falls over. And I mean, I've had a deer get up like 4 times. And at a certain point, I'm either on state land and I don't want to deal with that, or I'm going onto the neighbor's property and I don't want to deal with that, because a lot of the places I hunt, I've got like a narrow section. It's lengthwise it's good, but with the 450 Bushmaster, I mean, it dang near cuts a deer in half. And I'm not saying in a way that it destroys the meat or it's just, but it just dumps so much energy. I don't care if I, hit it, give it a fatal wound, and it still has enough adrenaline and whatever to run. It knows it's dead. I mean, whereas with the 44 Magnum, it's going to die. There's no way around it. It just is so dumb it doesn't realize it, you know?
Yep. I had one at 110 yards. I hit with a 44 Magnum revolver, my 10.5-inch Ruger, Super Blackout. That son of a gun ran 110 yards and hid underneath a friggin' brush pile. We never found him till the next day. We had to get permission from DNR to go up there to find the thing. Well, yeah, go ahead, go find him. Don't take a gun with you. Okay. You know, it goes along this situation we're talking about with the 450. Straight wall cartridge requirements for certain states. That's all you can have is straight wall cartridges. So that fills the niche on that.
And
Absolutely.
where you're at, Travis, you could hunt with this.
Oh yeah.
I can in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
I've got a hunting spot where I could hunt with this, but it's kind of overkill because, I mean, the longest shot I've got on that property is like 75 yards. So where you're at, I mean,
we have energy minimums at 100 yards that the round has to produce. That's the only thing that they say for deer. Now, I don't know about other game, but you have to have a certain amount of foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards. And as long as your round produces that and it's larger than 22 LR, then you can hunt with it. Like you can hunt. There are people that hunt with 5.56, but they're also running a very potent load when they do it. And they also know like their parameters of what they're going to be shooting at and how large the game is and so on. So yeah, here we're not caliber restricted, you know, just above 22 LR for deer. So, but yeah, there's an energy minimum that you have to have also. So that's one thing you have to keep in consideration. So, and then also, I think you can't have more than 6 rounds in your firearm. It has to be limited to 6. You can't possibly have more than 6 in it. So you can't just take a 30-round mag and put 6 rounds in. You'd have to have a 5-round mag when you're out hunting. So they limit that to 6. And I think they do it so if you hunt with your handgun, you know, 6 is what they say. So most people are going to be using like a larger caliber handgun, like a revolver of some sort, 5 or 6 rounds. So.
Yeah, they're weird here how they do that. And it also depends on your game too. Yeah. I think like all bets are off if it's coyote. You can use a bottleneck cartridge to hunt coyote in a part of Michigan where you can't use a bottleneck to hunt a deer. And it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
That don't make any sense.
Good question out here real quick. I want to answer this one. M. Gabriel asked this one. He said, does a 450 Bushmaster need modified mags or is it just 50 Beowulf? There are 450 Bushmaster mags you can buy out there, but all you have to do is just buy a single stack conversion kit for your AR-15 magazine and you can use your existing AR-15 magazines. But if you don't want to bother disassembling and all that, you can just buy pre-made ASC company.
I was about to say ammunition storage components. Yeah, go to them.
They make good mags.
Good mags, American made. I haven't had any issues with their stuff. I like their mags. Now you might look at the price and go, "Dang, it's kind of pricey." Well, it's a 450 Bushmaster mag. You can buy them from the manufacturers too. That like when I went to the Bushmaster site when we were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
they've got a Bushmaster mag for that, and you know whether they contract it out or they do it in house, and it's about the same price.
Yeah. If you don't need a bunch of
them. But this
isn't
something where you're bringing a bandolier with 10 mags with you. You know, 1 or 2 mags and you're set. I mean, because this is really a hunting caliber. You could use it I suppose, as a PDW. You could use it for a home defense. You could use it. But there's a reason that why they sell them with 5-round mags. I'm sure somebody out there's probably got a higher
Durmag has some products defense, ASC, like you just said. Yeah, there's a lot of companies that make magazines for it. 5 and 7 rounds, so you can get into 5-round capacity. Yeah. If you want to get a tailor-made one, that's not going to take more than 5.
I got both 5 and 7.
I'm not seeing products. I mean, they want you to click on links on this one and go visit the website. So you're probably going to pay maybe $20, $15 or something like that, $17. So
around $17.50, I think it was.
Real quick on the survey, what other AR10, LR, SR calibers are you interested in? There was 8.6. Blackout was 11%. 6.5 Creedmoor was 57%. And 243 Winchester was 26%. Because you can get those LR, SR, AR10 uppers in a variety of calibers now. There's all sorts of different calibers for them. I've seen the 243 and 270 uppers that you can get. Those are out there also. A lot of companies make them. And again, I don't like using just one particular company. But with Bear Creek Arsenal, when you go, you can see what variety of calibers are actually out there for that LR, SR platform. That's what the Bear Creek uppers use. So that'd be an Arrow Precision M5 lower. And then after that, you can go with whatever you want. We've had some good discussions on LRSRs before. Maybe come back to that at some point. Because I was kind of dabbling in that also when I had my 6.5 upper at that point. So, yeah. All right. Well, guys, I think we're probably going to go ahead and call it. Like I said, I just wanted to have a little discussion on this new caliber. I was excited about it. It was neat to get the information and to actually see some industry support instead of just saying, yeah, we got one or two manufacturers on board and there's going to be one gun for it. It's like the fact they're pushing out the barrels and saying, look, all you have to do, this is it, this small conversion, and you're ready to go. So there's a lot of us that are heavily vested in AR10 platforms and all that goes along with it. So the fact you can go to something else that's more potent, but will also let you run a more compact platform, I'm all for it. I think it's great. Now, I'm sitting here thinking that 12.5-inch barrel, you're going to have to run that on a pistol lower. You're going to have to SBR it. So that'd be the only catch, but they are going to do 16-inch barrels also, so somebody doesn't have to worry about that. And you might have a slight velocity gain going 16-inch, although, the round's designed to burn full powder at 12.5. I don't think you're going to get any kind of depletion of velocity out of a 16. It might be at a maximum burn point at that point. So no, I think it would probably stay the same. Maybe still even gain once it leaves the barrel. You never know. So, yeah.
You kind of have to base that on case capacity. That's what you have to base that on.
I once we get some ballistics information coming out, we can really take a look and see if it compares to 308, because that's going to be the big question. Is it going to offer you more that your 308 doesn't already offer you? Because I've got a couple stout, hand loads that I've got developed for my Ruger American bolt action chambered in 308, and I think it's going to work fine. It'll do what I want out to 500 or 600 yards, So, okay. All right. So, single shot, anything you want to say before we go? And again, quick shout out to AWAG for being here. He was here. He was here when we started, wasn't he? Or did he leave before we started?
No, he left a little bit after.
So AWAG is busy at work today. So anyway, he was here for the chat a little bit initially. And then let's see, Foos is having some internet issues, so he had to drop. But thank you, Foos, for being here. But single shot, anything you want to say before we go?
Well, everybody be careful, be safe in this cold air, this cold weather. It's 27 degrees right here where I'm sitting at in Ringgold, Georgia.
Oh, man. We're 28.
Jamie
we're supposed to get up to 54, so debate how long. Yeah.
But,
the 50s today would be nice.
You got the biggest thing I could say is think about the caliber that you're going to be querying. Is this going to be the right caliber for the situation that I'm going to be using, or am I just going to target shoot with it, or am I going to hunt with it, shoot competition, whatever. So you really have to stop and think, and then you can start to work through the calibers and see what's going to fit your application the best. And I just like I like the Thompson Center system. It's a single shot, and there's a few other companies out there that are making them, Harrington, Richardson, and CVA. So you get that same versatility, not quite as much of an expanse of caliber selection as TC has. So it's like I said, you got to sit down, you got to think of what application you're going to be using this thing for, and just do a little bit of homework. So with that, everybody be safe. God bless. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And America moves by truck.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. Squibload, anything you want to say before we go?
No, thanks for the invite. I'm, kind of glad that you bring this stuff up and give us all an opportunity to speak our mind, whether we're for it, against it, or just don't have any opinion at all. I think everybody's got something to bring to the table, some sort of experience with something, or some sort of story to tell, or even some really creepy bud pictures to show everybody.
Oh yeah, Halloween, baby, 2017 Halloween. 2018 actually. So my Instagram's got all kinds of cool pics on it, lots of gun pics. If you guys are gun people, go check it out. So I have links to it in the description box. So yeah, sweet. Yeah, but no, I'm glad having you here. Yeah.
Everybody keep Willie Bulletman in the prayers. He is not doing well at all. He's in the hospital. He had a heart attack. I haven't heard anything on him lately, but he could certainly use a message or two there at williebulletman@gmail.com, I believe is the address.
Okay.
And the outlook is not good, guys. It really isn't.
All right. Yeah, just medical stuff in general for everybody, man. It's a scary time. So, jeez. All right, so this has been episode number 221, season 4. We talked about 8.6 Blackout, previously known as 8.6 Creedmoor. Had a good discussion on it, talked about it a little bit. We do this a lot. We do just discuss calibers because that's pretty much how we got our start. So anyway, let's give a shout out on the YouTube side to everybody that was here. We've got, let's see, Mad Sexy Man of the Nights out there. Eduardo Espinosa's out there. Screaming Skull Saloon's watching. Let's see, Kingpin's out there also. XAdam1 says, I'm sitting at 24 degrees here in Texas, and it was 17 this morning. XAdam1, we might give you guys a run for the money on temperature up here in Nebraska. Screaming Skull Saloon says, pray for us. Absolutely. Kingpin's out there. He says, peace out. M. Gabriel, Bernie B. Sanchez, Gizzard Gary's out there this morning. Good morning, Gizzard Gary. Guys, make sure you check out Gizzard Gary's channel. Also, Rick's Life as I See It. There's probably going to be an episode today of that also, and probably G23. So these are all channels you guys need to go find out and sub to. Moski 1088's out there. Also, you said 300 Black or 6'5 Brenda. 6'5 Brenda. I haven't heard of that one. So, 6'5 Grendel. That would be a discussion for another time. I'd have to go back into what we know about 6'5 Grendel. It's a caliber I believe we've discussed in an episode, but I haven't really researched it after that, so I really can't get into it. But again, I love talking ammo. It's always a good time. Let's see who else is out there. Mike's out there. New York Outcast is out there. Chris Bullis, Kingpin. A lot of good discussions going on. SS Pond's out there. Good morning, Stan. Good to see you. Let's see. Tara was out there also. Agorizer's watching today. I didn't see any Ozzy Osbourne out there today, or maybe Tahuya Bar and Girl. New York Outcast, Joe Ziola's out there. Hello, Joe. Oh, there's Ozzy Osbourne. All right, I missed you, man. I didn't see you check in with us today. Mario Mosen's out there. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. Captain Codebook's with us today too. Fuo Woos was out there, and so was Foos. Tara Smith's Kitchen. Get over there and subscribe to Tara Smith's Kitchen. You got some great recipes. You guys want to learn how to cook, you can learn a lot. Go over there and check out that channel. Zinger's out there. Whew, man, I think that's about everybody. So I'm about out of, I think I need some more caffeine. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I want you guys to have fun. I want you to be safe. We will see you again next Saturday. And again, like and subscribe to my channel, Travis P11. I've got videos coming out pretty much every Wednesday. I've got 2 of them just sitting in the cache, ready to be released. If you do support me over on Patreon, you do get early access to videos. If you subscribe, that's great. You know, or help me out on Patreon, that's great. If you do, that's wonderful, but it's your own choice. And we do get early content out to you, and we do monthly drawings, which is cool too. So, and again, the funds do help the channel. But in the meantime, Sandhills Media, and that's it. Squidload's out there too. So have fun, be safe, guys. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.